Hello, namaste. For today's practice, I would encourage you to have two blocks, a blanket and a strap on hand, and come to find a comfortable, stable, and supported seat. So sitting in this easy pose, is how it translates, is one option. Or you could sit with your shins crossed. You could sit with the legs extended in front of you, or sit back on or in between your heels. Sitting up on height can help to allow the knees to drop down low enough to feel like you have a stable foundation, but blocks underneath the knees could also help to serve that purpose. Ideally, we want the knees below the natural waist so that the energy flows from the pelvis out through the knees. So instead of having the knees high, and it creates a binding. So lift the hips up a little bit more as you need to. And think tall and act tall. And draw the hands together in prayer position, Namaskar Mudra, in front of the heart. Take a deep breath in and sigh it out. And do that again. Deep breath in. And if you haven't already, allow your eyes to close. So the upper eyelid is simply resting on the lower eyelid. And take another deep breath. And turning your attention to your breath very gradually and slowly, begin to grow the breath. Ideally, breathing in and out through the nose in the practice of yoga. And allowing each inhalation to be only the smallest measure, longer, slower, and deeper than the previous one. As you release that nice inhalation, notice the body's natural response to letting the breath go. Every single exhalation is accompanied by an inward and downward flow of energy. So turning your attention to the exhalations for the next few breaths, feel the full weight of your body resting on the earth as you exhale. And then on your next exhale, any amount, relax the abdomen and the shoulders. Don't try to marry your breath to my words. You keep breathing at your own pace. But on your next exhale, soften the space between the eyebrows. The forehead broad and smooth, the skin at the temples soft. And while the lips remain lightly touching, separate the teeth. Let the low jaw be slack and feel the weight and volume of the tongue resting in the low jaw. Very subtle now. On your next exhale, let the eyes slowly recede into the sockets and the inner walls of the throat cascade downwards. And on your next exhalation, scan the body, do all of that again. Sit down and soften. Without losing what you have established in the intimate connection to the exhalation, expand your awareness to include the sensations and details of the inhalation. So as you take that slow, smooth, steady, deep breath in, notice the body's natural response. Every single inhalation is accompanied by an upward and outward flow of energy. So as you inhale, allow the spine to ascend, the rib cage to float up out of the anchor of the pelvis, feeling stable and tall and buoyant. And lift the base of the back of the skull up away from the dropping down of the tail. Then with the thumbs resting on your sternum, on the next inhalation, expand from the center of the sternum to the ends of the collarbone. Spacious, buoyant, tall, stable and steady, rooted. For one more breath. And after your next inhalation, as you release the breath, tuck the chin, bow just the head. Taking a moment in this gesture of humility and reverence to surrender the wisdom of the brain to the wisdom of the body, to surrender the ego to the heart, and invite the heart to be what leads you and guides you through your practice today with the intention of meeting yourself with compassion, patience, and respect. If you care to join me, you'll seal those intentions with the sacred sound of Om. Inhaling as the head floats up. Om. And allow the eyes to blink open, releasing the hands. If you're sitting cross-legged, and switch the cross of your legs. And if you're sitting in some other position, you might consider coming to cross-legged or sitting back on or in between your heels. And if you're sitting up on some height, have a block behind you for additional height to support the hands. Walk the hands away, turn the palms to face outward, and inhale, reaching out to come up. Hands into prayer position, exhale in front of the heart once more, and interlace your fingers, and as you exhale, press palms forward. Take the shoulders back and down, lift the sternum, squeeze the forearms in, sit tall. And on an inhale, take the arms up any amount, and exhale, lower. So isolating the movement in the shoulder joint, the upper arm bone moving through the joint. So it's not that the spine is flexing or extending. You want the articulating or moving joint to be just the shoulder. So maintaining your nice, stable, and upright seated pose. The next time that the arms come up in Hasta Bandha Gulyasana, we'll pause. So in reality, your arms might be further forward, or you might be able to go further back than me. That's okay. Soften the shoulders, harden the elbows, squeeze the forearms in, press the palms up, and then any amount, take the pinky side of the hand down just a little bit more. Soften the shoulders. Take one more deep breath, sigh it out, and exhale as the arms float down. And as if you were scooping some precious liquid up the front of the body, the palms open up underneath your chin, shoulders down, elbows in, and thumbs forward. So when I was a little girl, we'd pick the buttercups from the field and hold them under the chin to see if you liked butter, if it reflected yellow under your chin. So imagine you have a buttercup in the interlace of your fingers. You're going to shine that under your chin. Good. Thumbs forward, elbows down. One more nice deep breath, and then release. Walk the hands away once more. Turn the palms out. One more time, inhaling, arms out to come up, and hands into prayer position in front of the heart. This time, interlace the fingers in your non-habitual way. So if you're not sure, interlace your fingers and then switch every finger by one. And once more, press palms forward. So shoulders back and down. Watch that the arms aren't protracting the shoulder blades, having them move away from one another. Squeeze the forearms in and inhale to take the arms up. Come in and out. Just a simple act of switching the cross of your fingers can really make a difference in what you feel. And then notice if your arms are making some serpentine, undulating pathway, or if they go more straight. One isn't right or wrong, it's just an inquiry. Why? What's happening? And the next time you come up, pause. Drop the tail, soften the shoulders, squeeze the forearms in, and take the pinky side of the hand down any amount more. Nice deep breath. This time as you exhale, stretch the arms out, and then you're going to interlace the hands behind you. I'm going to turn my back to you so that you can see what my hands are doing. So reach back, interlace your fingers once more. The thumbs are going to go down to go out, not up. The thumbs trace the sacrum from the top to the bottom, go out, and then lean back on your hands. So again, if you're sitting on height, have some height for your hands so that the hips and hands are more or less at the same plane. And then push the earth away with your hands to lift the heart, lift the sternum, spread the collarbone. This can be very sensational. It may be that your hands cannot stay interlaced. That's okay. And then shift your weight side to side, pushing the earth away, broadening across the collarbones, lifting the sternum. The shoulder blades are in toward the midline and pressing gently against the back ribs to find the buoyancy of the heart. So when you're shifting side to side, it makes it intense on one side, but then you get a break on the other side. So you might find that constant pressure down on both hands is in your best interest. So you decide. Take one more nice deep breath, sigh it out, push the earth away. And then inhaling to release and let the arms float up. Good, pause. Take a nice deep breath, and this time as you reach the arms back, interlace in your non-habitual way. So if you're not sure, just switch every finger by one. And again, the thumbs trace the sacrum from the top to the bottom. Lean back, reach back, press the earth away, and lift the chest. So a subtle movement of taking the hands just a little further back or walking the hips just a little further forward will change where and how you feel this. So don't hesitate to make a subtle shift or adjustment or refinement to experience something just a little different. Might make it easier, and then again, it might make it more challenging. So you decide what's in your best interest. We're aiming for optimum here today in our practice, not maximum. One more nice deep breath, sigh it out, and then inhale to release. Good. If you're sitting cross-legged, switch the cross of your legs once more. And inhale, take the arms up once more. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, turn toward the right. Let the left hand come to rest on the right knee, thigh, hip, somewhere. And the right hand is back behind you. Turn the fingers to point backwards so that it helps you to open up the upper chest. Take a deep breath in and just turn the belly. You can turn the ribs and the gaze. It's not an intense twist, please. And then the gaze goes back over the left shoulder. And then let the left ear drop down some amount. So the head is tilting, but this left hand is holding you so that you're not falling over. The right hand is offering support as well. You can lift and lower the chin, make your subtle adjustments so that you can target exactly the area of your body that you intend to target with this nice stretch. So there's a stretch for the right side, but then there's compression for the left side. You might feel one or the other first. It doesn't matter. If you're feeling it, then you're doing it. There's no shoulds about what you feel. Good. One more nice deep breath, and then find the path of least resistance to come to a neutral seated position, and inhale to sweep the arms up once more. Exhale, turn to the left, release the arms down. So it's not a big twist for the spine. We get some mobility, some rotation in the spine, but we really want to target the cervical spine. So point those left fingers to back behind you toward the right to find your left upper chest, full moon. And then look to the right. And then maybe let the head lull to the right or tuck the chin. It will change how and where you feel this. So there's no right way. There's no one way. What works for me may not be the best or optimum for your body. So you find a position that's targeting an area that you intend to target, and then settle. Relax into the slow, steady, deep breath. One more. Find the path of least resistance to sit tall once more, and inhale to take the arms up. Exhale to release the arms down. If you can sit in between your heels or on your heels, even if there's a block in between your heels, then by all means try that. A version of hero pose or lightning bolt, virasana or vajrasana. If that's not an option for you to sit back comfortably, then just switch the cross of your legs once more. Walking the hands out so that you really have to reach out through the fingers as the heart lifts to find the earth. Turn just the right palm away and inhale to sweep the right arm up. Divide your consciousness between the right buttock bone piercing the earth and the right fingers piercing the sky. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, bend that right elbow. Gently let the hand rest here. It's barely any weight. And then traction the head over toward the right. So the placement of the left arm, whether it's forward or back, out or in, is again going to change how and where you feel this. Very little weight on the right hand still. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, relax the right shoulder down away from the right ear. Lift the sternum, gazing at the horizon. And then on an exhalation, let the full weight of the right arm gently traction the head over. These left fingers are barely grazing the earth. Can explore sensation again by turning the palm forward. Go slowly and then maybe upward. So the rotation of the upper arm bone is going to again change how and where you feel this. So little explorations. It's 1 degree of shift or change can open up a whole new world of sensation. You can continue turning the upper arm side to side, forward and back, or find a shape that's reasonable and pause. Soften the jaw. So even as the head is leaning to the right, the torso is more or less upright. One more nice deep breath, sigh it out. And inhale, stretch the right arm up. And on your next inhale, let the head float to neutral and turn the left palm away and lift the left palm up. So both arms lifted, extended, harden the elbows, soften the shoulders, and release just the right arm. Sit tall. Take a deep breath in, rooting the earth with your left buttock bone, and then bend the left elbow. The hand is barely resting over by the right ear. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, gently let the head low. Barely any movement, traction, or action from the left hand. Take a deep breath in and exhale, relax the left shoulder down away from the ear. One more nice deep breath. And then as you exhale, let the weight of the arm very gently traction the head over. Find the buoyancy of the heart and gaze straight ahead at the horizon. And then you can play around with some small refining movements by spiraling that right upper arm internally and externally. You can keep moving the entire time or find a shape that you would like to sustain for the next 5 breaths. Slow them down. When you have had 5 breaths, inhaling to stretch the left arm up. Relax the right arm, and on your next inhale, let the head float up and take the right arm up. Interlace your fingers and then bring the interlaced fingers behind your head. So tight chest, front of the shoulder, then the elbows are going to stay in. And that's okay. You just have to meet yourself right where you are. There's no express elevator to heaven for the people who take their elbows back, but you take the elbows as wide as you can comfortably manage. And then create some traction with the fingers, as if you're trying to pull the fingers apart gently, not with 100% of your strength, but just enough so that as you pull the fingers apart, you feel the effects on the shoulder. Pressing the shoulder blades into the upper back ribs. Good. And then the hands create a wall. So you need to find a shape with the arms that you can sustain without fatigue or stress. And the hands create a wall so that as you exhale and roll the head across the hands to look at the right elbow, The head stays upright. It's resting against the wall of the hands. And inhale to face forward, and exhale, let the gaze go to the left elbow. And inhale to face forward, and exhale to turn. So as you go back and forth, you might try just a small adjustment of lifting the chin the slightest amount, or dropping the chin the slightest amount, refining. And as you gaze to the right, make sure that the left elbow isn't going with the eyes. The arms are a wall. And the next time that you're looking at your right elbow, we'll pause. Root down in the right buttock bone. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, lift that right elbow up, and the left elbow is turning down toward the earth. And exhale to neutral. And inhale, reaching up. And exhale to neutral. All the while, the head is gently pressing into the hands. You know, like there's a butterfly wing between your hand and your head, and you want to hold that butterfly wing there. You don't want to crush it, but you want to hold it. And maybe one time when you lean to the left, you'll pause for a breath or 2 or 10, whatever is reasonable. Softening, especially that left shoulder, the jaw, and the eyes. Root down in the right buttock bone. Give yourself a stable foundation to stretch from. And then inhale to come to neutral. If you need to take a break, if your arms are going numb, that's definitely an indication that it's time to take a break. But when you're ready, creating the wall and gazing to the left elbow, rooting down in the left buttock bone, and inhaling to reach out to come up with that left elbow, right elbow heavy, and then exhaling to neutral. Inhale, reach out to come up, and exhale to neutral, coming in and out, dividing the consciousness between the downward flow of energy through that left buttock bone in particular, and the upward flow through the crown and the elbow. And then sustaining for a breath or 2, coming in and out if this is a very challenging shape for you. So if the jaw is clenched and the breath is being held and the eyes are bugging out of the head and you get that divine quiver, that's the body's way of telling you that you're trying to do too much and you just need to back off. Soften the shoulders for one more breath, and inhale to neutral. Release the hands from behind the head, but keep your interlace, and then switch to your non-habitual way. One more time, the back of the head rests in the interlace of the hands. This time as you inhale, we're going to lift the sternum, take the elbows wide, lift the chin, take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, curling in, elbows toward one another and gently drawing the head and the spine down. And inhale, press into the hands and open up the elbows and lift the heart. And exhale, elbows come in and curling down. Inhale, open up, lift up, look up. And exhale, curling in and down. How far down you curl, how far high you lift is all up to you, based on what you feel. So if you isolate the movement and it's just the head that's moving, really targeting the cervical spine and the shoulders, but if you start to round the upper back, you feel it in a different place. So it doesn't matter what you look like, but that you're working with intelligence and intention. One more time in each direction. And then find neutral and release the arm. Let's untangle the legs. So if you're sitting as I am, you want to lean to one side, use the hand to bring the foot forward and pause. Stay here. And then go to the other side, bring the other foot forward, pause, and stay here. Let the femur dive deep into the hip. And then you can slowly release the legs forward and give the knees a generous massage and circle the ankles in both directions. And then we'll come down onto our backs. Use your hands if you have any lumbar condition, or use your core if you don't have a lumbar condition. And as you lie on your back with the knees bent, walk the heels in. If you have one knee that's a little more resistant than the other and that foot stays further forward, then bring the more open side to create balance. Bring that open side foot in line with the other. And then pause. Get comfortable in your neck and upper body. And let the left knee flow in and up. So we're drawing the shin down. So it's like the upper thigh wants to find the low belly. It's not about the knee finding the collarbone, more like a baby elephant sitting on your shin, keeping the buttocks uncurling down toward the earth, not letting it curl up. Point the toes and flex the foot. Go back and forth a couple of times. And then one time when you flex the foot, we'll pause. Bring the hands behind the thigh. And with the intention of keeping the thigh where it is in its relationship to the torso, slowly begin to lift the heel away from the buttocks, working towards straightening the leg. The leg may not straighten, and that's okay. Come in and out slowly. So having a strap can be handy here. So if the thigh moves away a lot in order to straighten the leg, that's fine. You can use the strap to close the gap between the hand and the foot. But as you come in and out, warming up the body and giving the body an opportunity to inform you what it's capable of, then find an optimum shape with the foot flexed. And then ask yourself, what would it take to walk or slide the hands up toward the ankle without letting the neck and shoulders create a state of stress? Maybe you can hold on to your foot, or again, the strap can be very handy here to close the gap. If you're using the strap goes around the very front of the heel. And use that to close the gap so that the shoulders can remain relaxing, soft and heavy down on the earth. So the head of the femur diving deep into the hip. One more nice deep breath here in your optimum shape. And then bending the knee again, sliding the hands down, and plant the foot. Pause for just a moment and feel what you feel, the difference from side to side. So the right side wants some of what the left side has got, but we're not the same side to side. So as you come into the posture on the second side, come slowly, drawing that right leg in. So again, the baby elephant sitting on your thigh to create a compacting, not a curling up action. Remain stable on the left foot and long in the waist of both sides of the body. Good, and then bringing the hands behind the thigh if they're not already. Point the toes and flex the foot, go back and forth. And then flex the foot, sustain that. Try to keep the relationship between the thigh and the torso consistent as you slowly lift the heel away from the buttock. So it might mean that you don't straighten the leg very much at all. That's okay. Start with isolating the movement, keeping the thigh bone right where it is, just hinging at the knee. Not trying to get anywhere, but noticing when the body stops moving. Come in and out. Good, and then let the thigh bone move away from the torso as much as you need to in order to extend the leg. This is where the strap can come in handy, right in front of the heel bone. So the further you let the leg drift away from the torso, the easier it will be to straighten it. And then conversely, the more you lift it up toward 90 degrees or even beyond, the more release is required in the back of the leg, buttock, hamstring, calf. Walking the hand up, holding the strap, hands close to the foot, or the hands themselves hold the foot or the ankle or the shin. And we breathe. Relax the hip, relax the belly, relax the chest, the shoulders, and the jaw. One more breath. Holding on behind the thigh, release the strap and slowly bend the knee and release the right foot to the floor. Find your straps for sure this time. And as you draw the left leg, letting it float in, put the strap just in front of the heel and work toward extending the left leg. So the hands are close to the foot using the strap so that the weight of the arms are drawing gently down on the strap to help that thigh bone settle into the hip joint. Make this reasonable. We're going to grow the pose from here. Lift the right toes and slowly slide the right heel away. Don't lift the heel, slide the heel. That will help to keep the buttock muscles slack. You may very well have to back off on the pull of the left leg in order to sink the right thigh down. So put your baby elephant on your right thigh. It's very earthy. Keep the right foot flexed and the left foot, both legs strong and dynamic and steady, hugging the muscles in toward the bone. And then take both ends of the strap in just the right hand and the left thumb to the crease of the left hip to traction the hip down toward your right inner ankle and down toward the earth. And keep the hip down on the earth as you very slowly let the left leg drift any amount to the right. This is not a twist. We're not coming up onto the outer right hip. You want to keep both sides of the pelvis and buttocks down onto the earth. Slowly tractioning the left leg across the midline until you feel the left buttock start to get light, and that's your edge. Both legs dynamic. Turn the belly from the right to the left. Maybe extend the left arm to the left. So you then, again, you can play around with letting the leg drift further away. Maybe it can come a little bit closer in. I doubt it. But the right hand is toward the left foot. So the right arm is in traction. It's not relaxing on the earth. Find a shape that you can sustain for 5 slow, steady breaths. When you have had 5 breaths, use the arm and the strap to draw the leg back up to its neutral position, and then hold the strap with both hands, the left side of the strap in the left hand, the right side of the strap in the right hand. And pause. This time, take both ends of the strap in the left hand, and the right hand is reminding that right thigh to stay down on the earth. And on an exhale, extend from the pubic bone to the inner knee to the inner heel as the left leg draws to the left. Imagine you still have the left thumb in the crease of the hip, taking the buttock bone and the outer hip toward the right inner thigh. Don't let the left elbow or forearm come to the earth. Walk the hand toward the foot so that the arm is strong and straight. And don't let the right hip get light. So only as far as you can go in abduction while keeping the right buttock, right thigh heavy on the earth. And then sustaining for 5 breaths. Letting the strap do the work of holding the left leg in a dynamic position. Letting the earth do the work of holding the right leg in a dynamic position. And when you've had your 5 breaths, use the strength of the arm to bring that leg back up to neutral and pause. Once again, separating the straps and holding on with both hands. Good. Last movement that we'll do from this shape. Going to slowly slide that right leg slightly in toward the midline so that the right heel is more or less in line with the left buttock bone. It's not a big movement. And then take the strap in just the right hand, hand up close to the foot, and take the left arm to the left for leverage and ballast. Now we will come right up onto the outer right hip, outer right knee, outer right ankle, the little toe side of the foot on the earth, and pause. The right arm is not on the earth. Spiral the upper arm. Let the left leg drift away as much as you need to make this reasonable. And divide your consciousness through all of the body parts, a long line from the right heel to the crown of the head, this strong axis around which we are turning. The left heel pressing toward the right as the left belly returns back to the earth. Won't go to the earth, but toward the earth. Turn the belly from the right to the left, and then lengthen the left waist and the right waist. If you would find it comforting to support the left leg at the knee or the shin on block or a pile of blocks, by all means, come all the way out, make your adjustment, your refinement, and then slowly come back in again. 5 more breaths. Focusing on softening something, somewhere, anything, anywhere. When you've had your 5 breaths, slowly, carefully, sensitively, and intelligently release the shape. Take the left foot out of the strap and let the foot return to the earth, and then bring the right foot to meet it and pause. Take a moment to just feel what you feel. Notice the difference from side to side. My left side feels like a stick of butter that's been on the counter overnight, and the right one just came out of the freezer. So when you're ready, we'll come to the second side. Just really important to remind yourself that you're not picking up where you left off on the first side. So letting that right leg float in and grab on and pause. And then place your strap in front of the heel and extend the leg. Doesn't matter, the further the leg drifts away, the easier it will be. So find your optimum shape, not maximum, not struggling. That's the last thing we want our yoga practice to teach us, is how to struggle. So checking in with yourself. Walk the hands toward your foot, the left side of the strap held in the left hand, the right side in the right hand. And then lift the left toes and slide the left toes or left heel away and pause. Back off again on the pull of the right leg so that you can anchor that left thigh down, down, down to the earth. That's the foundation of your pose. Both legs dynamic, strong, stable, steady, not frantic. Take both ends of the strap in your left hand, the right thumb and the crease of the front of the right hip, drawing the hip down and down, and any amount. The leg goes over to the left without turning. So we want to keep the right outer hip heavy toward the earth. The pelvis is still level on the earth. Both back ribs, left and right side, down on the earth. The shoulders down on the earth. So you won't come so far. And if you don't need that right thumb to encourage the right hip to draw away from the armpit, you can take it over to the right and let it relax for 5 breaths. If you're holding your breath, that's going to take a really long time. So breathe and flex the left ankle, left toes pointing straight up. And when you've had 5 breaths, gently release that right leg back to its neutral position and hold the strap with both hands. And breathe. Left leg is unwavering. It hasn't gone anywhere. Take both ends of the strap in just the right hand. Walk the hand close to the foot. Left arm to the left for ballast. And over to the right you go. Lengthen from the pubic bone to the inner knee. From the left low abdomen to the right inner heel. And turn the belly from the right to the left. And then connect the right outer hip to the left heel. Find that circularizing energy. And pause. The right elbow not on the earth. Walking the hand close to the foot so that you're stretching, but not collapsing in the right waist. There's a lot going on here. Seemingly simple movement, but so much to pay attention to. And you do your best. Most important is not to struggle, but to create dynamic energy, to work intelligently. One more breath. Sigh it out, a little smile, and let the arm take the leg back up to neutral once more, separating the strap, holding on with both hands. Feel the weight of the arms and shoulders drawing down on that foot. The left leg is going to move just a little bit in toward the midline so that the line from the heel to the head is strong and straight. Take the strap in just the left hand. And this time we are going to come right up onto the left outer hip, outer knee, outer ankle, the baby toe side of the foot. Turn the belly from the left to the right. Don't let the left elbow rest on the earth. Straighten the arm traction. This dynamic tension between the leg and the hand. Both sides of the waist long. Turn the belly from the left to the right. And again, you can support the weight of that right leg with a block or pile of pillows, whatever you have on hand. But let the leg hover just a bit, even if you have the mobility to come to the earth. Both legs strong and straight, and that little smile, well known for 5 breaths. Using the strength of the arm to release that leg back up, unturning, and remove the strap. Let the right foot float down to the earth, and then bend the left knee as well and pause. Let the soles of the feet come together and the knees drift apart. The relationship of the feet and the pelvis, how much space and distance there is, will be directly related to what you feel here. So make it reasonable. Soften for just a few breaths, settling in, and then we'll do some balance work from here. There's a lot of ways to balance that aren't just standing on one leg. So gently but firmly press the feet together. And you can feel that as a result, the buttock starts to firm, and then there's a bigger pull for the inner thigh. So make any adjustment that you need to make so that this is really reasonable. The back of the head stays resting on the earth. What you want to watch for is that you don't create rigidity and tension in the front of the throat. Keep the front of the throat soft and stretch the arms up, palms facing one another. And lift the shoulder blades up off of the earth and then lower them down. So nothing changes in the elbows. The arms stay straight, but we lift the shoulder blades, outer shoulders up, and then let them draw back down. without creating tension in the throat. And the next time that you lift the arms, find a position that you can sustain. So not all the way so that you're creating tension, but a lift and pressing the feet together, and then lift the hips. Lift the hips, extend the arms, lift the arms, find your breath and balance here. So this takes a lot of strength in the back body, a lot of balance. So if you're waffling and wavering and swaying, that's okay. Just smile your way through. And one more breath. Exhale, releasing down. Pause, relax. Nice, deep, refreshing breath. Sigh it out with a smile. And then once again, take the arms up. Lift the shoulder blades up off of the earth. No tension in the throat. And pressing the feet together and lift the hips. So this time intending to drop the right knee down toward the earth, back to neutral, and then the left knee down toward the earth. So you're rocking the low body side to side with as much control as you can manage, and keeping stability in the upper body as the arms stretch upward. One more time to each side, those knees wandering about, back to neutral, and pause. A deep breath in and sigh it out. And let the knees float back in toward one another. Use the hands. Give a gentle squeeze. So feet together, shins together, knees together, thighs drawing in together, compacting the lower limbs in toward the midline. Arms down by your sides, palms face down. Walk the hands toward your feet, tucking the shoulder blades in and down. Press down in the hands, down in the feet, and then the outer upper shoulders go down. Press down in the outer upper shoulders. Expand across the collarbones. Tuck the shoulder blades in. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, scoop the tail under. Begin to lift the hips from the backs of the thighs and the buttocks. So the abdomen stays passive. We're not lifting from the muscles of the back or the belly. Walk the hands in, squeeze the legs together, and then let the left heel float up. And maybe the toes float up. And maybe the whole leg floats up, and you might be able to extend the legs some amount. So a lot of balance here. Watch that you're not taking it in the throat. Come on down. Lower the hips at any point as you need to. This is about balance. So the body is stable and the leg is moving. Sustaining for a few breaths if it's reasonable. If you have the strength to sustain, but no struggling. Strong, steady, firm, soft in the jaw, soft in the throat, and then come on down. Draw the knees in slowly and gently. We've just been using the muscles of the back body. So come in slowly. You should expect your edge to be much quicker, that you come to the edge quicker than you would normally. And then rocking side to side or making some other comforting movement. And then come to stillness. So again, like the baby elephant sitting on your thighs, not at your knees so that the tail and the buttocks curl up and go light, but the whole shin compressing to the thigh and the thigh compressing to the abdomen. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, tuck the chin, lift the back of the head, keep coming up, maybe lifting the shoulder blades, tail still down. This is not for the front of the neck. The muscles at the front of the neck have to work to lift the head, but see how much you can do from your core. Pull your belly in and up and relax the front of the neck. So if you don't tuck the chin so strongly, then the muscles at the front of the neck can relax just a bit. Make that 1 degree of shift. Take another deep breath in, and as you exhale, now curl the tail up, bring the knees toward the forehead, the tightest ball that you can comfortably manage. And then hold on behind the thighs and rock yourself forward and back, using the legs to pump. If you have osteopenia or osteoporosis, don't be directly on the spine. Go on either side, up and back, same side, and then up and back the other side. Keep the chin gently tucked to protect the head and neck. As you come down, bend the knees, pull those heels toward the buttocks strongly. And then as you lift up onto the shoulders, see if you might be able to pause even for a nanosecond. And the next time that the hips come up, catch your hips with your hands. You might have to do it a couple of times. Walk the elbows in. Support the hips with the hands, and then let the weight of the hips come into the hands. If it's too much stress for your wrist, then maybe you let the hips come up higher off of the hands. That requires more flexibility, stability. So if that's not an option, you can support the hips with a couple of blocks stacked. Keep the back of the neck long and the front of the throat long. Tucking the shoulder blades in and down. So the outer upper shoulders helping to create the stable foundation, like the inner elbows. Half shoulder stand. Really nice to create this extension for the back of the neck, but then let the whole head and neck and shoulders be passive. Let the earth do the work of holding you here. So these inversions are really, really beneficial for every system of the body. Circulatory system and the endocrine system and the digestive system, and the lymphatic system. Stay as long as your heart desires, not your ego, but your heart. And when you're ready to come out, let the legs go overhead any amount and then rock in and out again. And as you're coming forward, really pull the heels in as tight to the buttocks as you can manage. And then maybe, just maybe, one time as you come forward, start to work towards standing up. Release the hands. Maybe lift the hips just a bit. And if you can come all the way up to a standing position, by all means. Great. So whatever it takes to come up to a standing position, come on up now. Be careful, but have a little fun. Be lighthearted. And find Tadasana. Oh, the lovely, stable, steady mountain pose. Start at your feet. Notice how you're bearing the weight. This is the absolute foundation. So we want a strong, stable, balanced foundation, and we build our posture. We build our castle on a stable foundation. Turn the palms to face away, and once again, take the arms up overhead. Drop the tail, relax the shoulders, and exhale the arms to shoulder height. Stretch from the core to the periphery, and then from the periphery back to the core. Make sure that you're very stable in your legs, forward fold coming. So the wider the foundation, the more stable you'll be. If you feel really stable and you want to work with balance, bring the feet right together. Turn the palms forward and downward and backward. And on an exhale, sweep the arms back, interlace your fingers in yoga mudra. If that's not an option, right, your elbows are bent, your chest is too tight, that's okay. Use the strap to close the gap between the hands, and the palms will face backward. So whatever it takes to straighten the arms and reach the arms down. And then watch that your belly and chest aren't thrusting forward. So right as the arms come down, see if what it would take to get the kidney band back toward the forearm so that the abdomen is receding, not rigid, but passive. Down in the knuckles, up in the crown, down in the tail, up in the kneecap. And take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, hinge at the hips. Pause halfway or close to that as your back and knees and hips will allow. Stretch the crown forward. Draw the front body in and up to meet the back body so that still the kidney band is rising up to meet the arms. Stretch the sternum forward. Lift the kneecaps, send the inner thighs back. Take one more breath, soften the knees as you need to. And on the exhale, lift the arms out to come up any amount. Out to come up any amount. Out to come up. And when the arms have found their optimum shape, then hinge at the hips to come into your forward fold. Again, the wider the feet, the broader the foundation, the more stable you'll feel. Let the head hang. So I want you to tell me, what do you see between your knees, between your thighs? Don't look down. Let the head hang. Reach out with the arms to come overhead. So the arms are dynamic, not frantic, but they're working. They're stretching the front of the chest, the front of the shoulders. Yoga mudra. The mudra is the hand gesture, and yoga is to unite, to yoke, to bring together. One more nice deep breath. Sigh it out with a little smile. Your best friend's got you by your wrist. Inhale to rise up, heavy tail, light heart, and then release. Oh, good. Mountain pose. With the hands on the waist, take the feet a comfortable distance apart. Stand firm on your right leg and take the left leg forward and then across the midline. So everything's going to want to go. You want to minimize how much the pelvis, the belly, and the torso go with you. And inhabit the inner edges of both feet. So if you feel as though the left leg is pressing too firmly on the right thigh and the knee is hyperextending, bring the foot further forward. But then as you're able, bring it back so that the little toes are wanting to touch, and maybe they do. And then you take the heels wide, all the while standing on the inner edge of both feet, the inner edge of both feet. So there's this tremendous compacting action in the hips, and we turn the belly from the right to the left. In any amount, slide the hand down the shin or down the thigh to the knee, pause. And if it's reasonable to keep going, keep going. The hands may very well come to the earth or maybe to the blocks, and the head is hanging. And then notice where you're bearing the weight, and just by 1 degree, the subtle refinement, come onto the inner edge of the right foot, just a little bit more. And then the inner edge of the left foot,
just a little bit more. So shifting and swaying, subtle, subtle, subtle refinements, and then find your optimum shape and settle in for 5 breaths. When you have had 5 breaths, hands to the hips, very strong and secure in your legs. If you're not strong and secure, untangle the legs before you come up. Heavy tail, light heart, rise up. And untangle the legs. Tadasana. So feeling very stable as the low body, downward flow of energy, and buoyant, uplifted in the upper body energy. And hands to the waist. Stand firm on your left leg and take your right leg forward, and then any amount over to the left. You can come in and out, but watch that it's the minimum amount of turning through the hips and the belly and the spine. Find the place where you don't feel like you're hyperextending your left leg at all, please. And then maybe the little toes come closer and the heels go wider. And then again, maybe not. Right? And stand on the inner edges of your feet. So you've got to be very stable through the hips and the knees here. So do not go further into the pose if you don't feel stable and steady. And then adjust and refine until you do feel stable and steady. And then slide the hands down the legs any amount. You come forward. It will change how and where you feel this. So you might find that it's more intense to stand upright. And coming forward could feel like a relief. And then coming forward could feel really intense. And rising up some amount would afford some relief. So based on what you feel, not what you look like, there aren't that many universal truths in the practice of yoga. It's very experiential and individual, not dogmatic. So you find your shape and stay for 5 breaths. Maybe shifting and swaying just a bit to see what it is to really inhabit the inner edge of the feet. And when you feel complete, coming up with tangled legs or untangle the legs first, heavy tail, light heart, floating up, and untangle the legs into Tadasana. When you feel like you have really settled into Tadasana for just a few moments, then we're going to transition again back down onto the earth, maybe without the use of your hands, maybe. So as you come down, we're going to come down onto our backs in preparation of constructing Shavasana, the final resting pose. So if you'd like to have bolster or pile of blankets, blocks, pillows underneath your knees to take any pressure off the low back, then just have those props at hand. Another prop that can be handy is a small pillow or some slight support for the back of the head. Dig the heels in and lift the toes. If you have any lumbar conditions, this is not for you. You'll use your hands to lower yourself down. But if you don't have any lumbar conditions, we'll use our core. Dig the heels in, lift the toes, stretch the arms forward, and slowly scoop the tail under, pull the belly in. So you want to reduce the distance between the front body and the back body as you scoop the tail under and slowly lower yourself down, one vertebra at a time. And when you're all the way down, take a nice big full body stretch. Reach the arms overhead, stretch the legs forward, and then come into Shavasana. So giving yourself all of the support and props that you need in order to relax completely. If you feel any resistance in the low back, any pinching or pulling, then something underneath your knees, please. Tucking the shoulder blades in and down, palms face upward, in the receiving gesture, and maybe some support at the base of the skull so that the throat can be soft and the chin ever so slightly tucked. If you have a blanket and you'd like to cover yourself up for comfort as much as warmth, please feel free. And if you're fortunate enough to have an eye pillow, or maybe you have a sleeve nearby and you could just cover your eyes. It helps us to begin to shift into pratyahara, withdrawing the senses, moving from the external world to the internal world. That's you. Go in and explore. Soften. Rest completely. Stay with yourself. Can you do less? And as you rest completely here in the final pose, consider this poem by Dana Fogg titled Still Point. She writes, there is a quality of stillness so rare that the air shimmers in its presence. It's there between our eyes. We hear it when we dare to speak the truth. It vibrates with the music of life, dances on the wind, breaks forth from the trees into a clearing just as the sun rises and settles into silence once again. There's a quality of stillness so rare that I am bared to the very marrow of my bones before it. May I choose never to be clothed again. Take a deep breath in, sigh it out. Settle down for a few moments more. Be less. And take another deep breath in. And if you care to, bring a slight smile to your face and breathe in some smiling energy and notice how that feels. Filling the whole of your being with radiant, dazzling, smiling energy. And then breathing out smiling energy, sharing that with the world. And when you feel moved to move, start so slowly at the periphery, finding fingers and toes, slow, gentle movements with curiosity, nothing sudden or abrupt. Wrists and ankles and elbows, and rolling the legs in and out, and the head side to side. Maybe rolling the eyes and opening and closing the jaw. And then pause. Come to stillness once more. Take a deep breath in and a big full body stretch, even if you have to face the yawn. Big stretch and settle down again. Notice the quality of rest that comes. When you're ready, one at a time, slide the heel in, bend the knees and plant the feet. And draw the legs in and make comforting movement, or just pause. Proceed as you see fit. But eventually, roll onto the right side, supporting the head and neck with the hand or arm, and draw the knees in into a tight, comfortable ball. To come up, keep the knees drawn in and the head down. Turn the heart and the gaze to the earth even more. Use the left arm to get the right arm under you, and then the arms press you up with bent knees and hanging head. And as you reestablish your seat, bring with you everything that you need in order to sit comfortably. All the while, maybe keeping the eyes closed. And then constructing your comfortable seat once more, maybe different than it was at the beginning of practice. That's fine. Give yourself permission to do what feels good, to do what's in your best interest. And trust yourself. Draw the hands together in prayer position in front of the heart once more. Namaskar mudra. Take a deep breath in, sitting very tall, and as you exhale, tuck the chin, bow just the head. Bowing to your own divine light. Bowing to the deep well of your heart, the seat of love, the seat of compassion. I'm taking just a moment to express gratitude. And we'll end our practice by once again joining our voices in the sacred sound of Om. Inhaling as the head floats up and sigh it out. And inhale to chant. Hari Om, Shanti, peace, Shalom, Salam. With deep gratitude, the yogi in me honors the yogi in you. And to that I bow. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. Thank you for your time and attention.